Meet Emily, a social media manager who looked successful on paper but felt like her business could blow away at any moment. Inside of CCA, she doubled her monthly recurring revenue in about 16 weeks by changing who she spoke to, how she priced, and how she saw herself as a CEO. Emily runs Brandican Social Media, and before CCA, she had great retention, clients who'd been with her for over 5 years. But she'd never raised her prices, was capped at around 15 clients, and felt completely tapped out. Revenue was good, but it felt fragile. She didn't know where the next client would come from. She was stuck in anxiety spirals about worst case scenarios and everything depending on her, and just kept saying yes to more work for way too little money. In this video, you'll hear how she went through the deep messaging and offer work, shifted her ideal client to go up market, raised long overdue prices, and held her nerve on a first I might throw up sales call, where the prospect chose her highest tier package. Let's get into it. Emily, I am so glad you are here. Let's kick this off with who you are, what you do, and who you help with your business.
Yeah, I'm Emily Nelson from Brandican Social Media. And so I'm a social media manager, strategist, and I've kind of added in conversion specialist as well. Andrew kind of helped me with that. And I help basically any founders, entrepreneurs who have a business and a proven offer that just need help matching their social media to the caliber that they're running, right? We want to make sure that the whole ecosystem is working together. And so I don't niche down on certain, niches that I work with, but kind of all over the place. But I kind of like it like that. Makes my job fun. So
I love it. So, social media management, just Instagram, right? Or you do other
I
platforms?
do basically any and all platforms. I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm a specialist at like LinkedIn or anything, but I definitely dabble in all of them because if we're going to make it for one platform, we might as well put them on all the other ones, is my thought. So,
I love it. And if people want to find you and learn more about Brandican and all the things that you're doing, where can they find you?
brandicansocialmedia.com is where you'll kind of find everything, but otherwise I'm on every social media site, which is my job. But on Instagram, it's Brandican Social Fargo, and then everywhere else it's just Brandican Social Media.
Amazing. So, Emily, to kick this off, let's actually take it back to
Yeah.
before you joined CCA and we started working together. What did your business look like at that point? What were maybe some of the challenges you were facing?
I would say honestly, right before I signed up, I was definitely feeling like I was just stuck. Like I had a good business and I'd been doing really well for a while. It just felt fragile. And I think part of that was also my identity. I kind of didn't realize how big of a problem my identity was until being in this program. So the biggest shift had happened with the identity, but I didn't really know that at the time. So at the time, I just kind of thought this feels fragile. I feel like I don't always know where my next client is coming from. Everything just feels like it could blow away at any minute. And I really needed help figuring out what to do next. I felt stuck because I was like, I feel like I'm doing everything right. I just don't know where to go from here. And so that's kind of, yeah, what prompted me to find you. And then here we are.
I love that. And I think I mean, it's something I resonate with as a business owner myself. It's like that unpredictability where you're
Hmm.
like, was this just a fluke? I
Yeah.
was joking when I did one of the other ones earlier with Brittany. And I was like, it's like the post and pray. You like just put it
Yeah.
out there. I hope a client finds me. You don't really have like a real system yet. And it
Hmm.
feels wild and unpredictable. How was that showing up for you day to day, running the business at that level?
Um, I kind of feel like I just ignored it day to day. But honestly, I guess how it showed up was a lot of just mental and physically. So I was just doing all these things, but behind the scenes, I was so anxious. I mean, you could ask my husband, it's a constant spiral of what if this, what if that, what if this, what if that, and just thinking of all the worst case scenarios. And so it definitely didn't, I wouldn't say it really showed probably to anybody looking in, but if you spent any amount of time with me and asked me, "Hey, how's da da da?" you probably would have heard me talk a lot about those anxiety spirals. And then that, of course, just goes into everything, right? You don't sleep well, you don't eat well, you
Mhm.
don't, all those good things. So it definitely kind of played a part in all those areas.
Thank you for just being so open because there's that feeling where you're like, I have a strong business
Mhm.
and I'm doing all the things. And maybe your peers, family, friends are like, wow, this is amazing. How'd you
Yeah.
do this? And then, like you said earlier, like you feel sometimes, could this just all blow away
Yeah.
tomorrow?
Mhm.
Thank you for sharing that. So,
Yeah.
there are so many programs out there. I don't know. You
Mhm.
you strike me as the type of person who's probably invested in a lot of them. I've
Yeah.
been there. I'm like, I always say I'm the coach, but I'm also the student.
Yeah.
So, what was the reason you joined CCA specifically?
I don't know, and honestly, it's kind of funny because I can be a jump the gun person, but I can also be somebody who just ruminates. But I had quite literally just found your page one night right before Christmas break, was looking through things, and I was like, "This girl has her crap together, it seems like." And also enjoyed how you spoke about things, like, in your captions and your stories. And then, of course, I was, like, doing all the many chat keywords, and so I think I had, like, commented probably 5 or 6 many chat keywords at that point, and I'm a fast digester, so I had gone through everything. There was, like, master classes, your VSL, the 7-day challenge or the 7-day email thing. I
Mhm.
mean, I digested everything very quickly, and then I don't even know how many hours, maybe even just a day later, you had messaged me and said, "Hi, it looks like you've gotten quite a bit of my stuff. Like, what, do you need help?" You're probably thinking this girl needs to do something because she needs help. And yeah, it was like within hours, you were like, "Okay, let's hop on a call. We'll do the free business audit. Let's just kind of see where you are, da da da." And at first, I was honestly surprised it was you because I had even said in there, I was like, "This is really kind of crazy that a human is responding, but it also seems like it could be you." And you confirmed it was you, and I was like, "Wow, okay, this is pretty cool." Anyway, then we got on the call, and I think for me, it was a good slap in the face a little bit because we were just talking on the call, and you just had said a few things that, like, "Okay, you can't keep relying on just the referrals. You can't do this, you can't do that." Da da da. I'm like, I know, And then at this point, I was honestly like, I needed to do something, and you were kind of hitting all the right marks, and then signed up.
I vividly remember our call, and I remember being like, Emily, you're in a good spot. Like, you're
Yeah.
not in a bad spot,
No.
but I can resonate so deeply with everything you're saying right now. But
Yeah.
even what you said, like on the call, now that we're talking about this, I'm like
Yeah.
remembering how I think a lot of business owners get in this stage of like, well, it's not bad.
Yeah.
So I don't really need to change anything.
Mhm.
But then it's like that invisible feeling. It's showing up
Mhm.
mentally, it's showing up in my day to day life. And I think
Yeah.
that was the unlock where I just had a call with somebody recently and I was saying, do you think ready is a decision or a feeling? And you
Mm.
really stepped into like, no, this is not a feeling.
Mhm.
This is a decision because
Yeah.
I sure as hell don't feel ready for half the shit I do, but I
No.
do it anyways, right?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. I like that. I'm gonna use that.
Yeah. So powerful. So you join CCA, you're like, I don't know, I trust this girl. I opted into a bunch of her stuff. I don't know. A month, 2 months in, where is your head at? What do you start implementing? What started to work for you? And say it from the perspective too of like, think of yourself where people listening, they can't see inside the product, they can't see
Yeah.
inside the community. So if you had to be like the one on the inside talking to the people on the outside,
Mhm.
tell them about your journey when you started.
Well, of course, it's a little overwhelming right away, right? Because there's so many modules, there's so many good, meaty things. And I think that was also something that I figured what you had in there was valuable. But when I started going through the modules, I was like, oh, this is meaty. There was not a lot of fluff. It was also a lot of stuff that you had to dig deep and actually, I mean, you didn't have to, of course, but to actually see results, you really should dig in and do some of it. And it was a lot of behind the scenes work. And I had talked to people in my life too who I had said about the coaching program. They're like, "Well, what are you doing? Like, are you just hopping on a call?" I'm like, "No, I'm doing some behind the scenes work." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I'm talking about messaging. I'm talking about the VSL. I'm talking about scripts, all of the CRMs, everything that you have to solidify all of this stuff before you can really, like, do all the other things well, and so you're not throwing spaghetti at the wall. And so just doing a lot of those deeper things right away. I remember I purchased this right before Christmas, had my onboarding call Christmas right before Christmas Eve. And so that whole next 2 weeks, I was in this office like sun up to sundown because my husband was off work for those like week and a half. And I ate it all up. I think I went through every single module in a week and a half and then kind of went back in again, of course, because I just listened to everything the first time. And so a lot of just taking in all of that information, then of course just peeling back the layers and things that I didn't even realize were a problem. One of them being when you talked a lot about just messaging and your blueprint, the offer blueprint, all that stuff. I thought, like, I do social media. I thought, "Oh, I know how to do messaging. I know who I'm talking to. I know who my ideal client is." No, because the problem is that I thought I knew who it was, but very quickly while running through that, but while also from the onboarding call with Andrea, that call quite literally changed the trajectory of everything I was doing. I quite I realized very quickly that who I thought I was speaking to is no longer who I'm speaking to, and that was a really big stepping like obstacle actually for me because I was so used to being this one type of person who I mean, I'm from the Midwest. I'm the firstborn. I'm people pleaser. I was very used to speaking to very certain type of person and being like, I can be helpful to everybody. I can do all this. Well, of course, that leads to burnout very, very quickly. And that's just, you're not serving anybody well at that point. And so then I was like, oh, I need to move up here a little bit and I need to change who I'm speaking to. So it was a lot of work on that end. I spent hours going through the blueprint and the ideal client profile. And of course, and Andrea, kind of like made me flesh it out even more. And that was what was crazy. When I handed in that handbook, that document, I was like, I did so good on this. There's nothing else to say. And then it was just even more. I was like, "Oh, okay." There's just so much to unpack. And I think doing all of that truly is what changed a lot of what was happening on the inside of the business too, but even the wins, I don't think any of the wins would have really happened as well if I wouldn't have changed who I was speaking to, because when I figured out who I was speaking to, it also kind of helped me figure out, oh, I'm not really leading with authority. Like if I want to talk to these certain types of people, I need to act like I know what I'm talking about and portray that I know what I'm talking about. I know that I do, but I was again so used to just being kind of, "Hi, I can help you. I'm just the friendly, I don't know, neighborhood girl," like,
Mhm.
and so that was
Yeah.
a big, big adjustment was figuring out who I'm speaking to and then adjusting, honestly, my identity a little bit. That, like, honestly, that's probably gonna come up a lot in this call, but the identity shift for me was so huge and continues to be something that I every day when something happens, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this was hard and a lot of work." Um, so yeah, but a lot of the deeper things like that was definitely what I did in the first month, and then the real first big thing that I implemented was, restructuring the offers, changing prices, sending out
Mhm.
scary emails to, of course, like current people. And I'll say this, which even I'm sure some of my clients would be like, Emily, this is very bad of you. I had not raised my prices ever with current
Wow.
clients. So like I had had clients for, which that's great. I have great retention rates, like 5+ years with people, but I had not rose my prices in that whole time. That's like when I say it out
I
loud, it's awful, but I
I
hadn't.
vividly remember when you posted in the group, like, I raised my price, and now that I'm hearing, like, 5
Yeah.
years,
Andrea was
now I'm
pissed.
like Okay, I wanna hone in on this for a second
Yeah.
because one thing that I'm hearing in everything you're saying is, like, yes, I committed to the program, I made the decision. I watched the modules, but the key piece is you implemented and you worked with your coach. Can you talk about
Mhm.
your experience in CCA about like actually having that higher level of support inside of a
Mm.
program? Like, have you ever had a coach inside a program? What has that experience been like for you?
Yeah, I hadn't really had this type of experience before where you got a lot of one-on-one attention from your coach. Because of course there's the group settings, but the one-on-one, and honestly, the my biggest, like, light bulb identity shifts happened on my onboarding call with Andrea, but then also in Slack, because I distinctly remember in our onboarding call, we were talking and I was kinda just like, "I don't know how to speak to the transformation, like, I know I do a good job, but I just don't know, da da da." And she's like, I explained all the things that I do. And she said, "Emily, Julia has 3 people on her team who do all of what you just said." And I like, I remember every day, that's like my mantra. Every day when I wonder, "Am I even good at what I do? Should I be charging what I do? Da, da, da." I have her replay that in my mind because 'cause I'm like, "No, that's huge." Like, to solve 3 different types of problems with one person and be good at it is huge. And then she, of course, shared other things, like she had known somebody in my field who wouldn't even take clients cheaper than X amount. I was like, "Oh, okay." That's crazy because that's not something I'd ever thought of either. But I think with Andrea, what was really nice is she she was, like, mean, but in a good way. It was very because it was stuff I needed.
She tells you
Yes.
not what you want, but what you need.
Yes, and she, of course, then is also so supportive, and it's kind of she's kind of like a Sour Patch Kid in a way because it was like she would say something really hard to hear, but then would be like, "But you're doing really great, like, good job." I'm like, "Okay," it kind of felt like that, which was it's been really nice to have even, that call, but then all
Mhm.
through Slack too, she continues to say things to me when I'm second guessing things, and I think that's what's also really nice, having that high touch part of the one-on-one coaching is you're able to kind of send stuff in the Slack channel or even the community of like, "Okay, I'm scared to do this. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm struggling with," or whatever. And to be able to get such detailed feedback is helpful. Like, I know she has a lot of people on her roster, but I still felt like I was her only person with the type of advice she was giving me. It just felt like it was very specifically written for me, not like she's copying and pasting scripts. You know what I mean? And she very well could be, but I did not
No,
ever feel that
we don't
way.
have any
Yeah.
coaching scripts actually, like, n
That's
Andrea is just a diamond in the
yeah,
rough,
she
like, she
is.
is such a gem.
Mhm.
So, I'm so happy that you've not just had a positive experience working with your coach, but also actually leaning in. Like, anytime I go
Yeah.
in school, I see you commenting, I see you
Yeah.
posting, I see you dropping in Slack, but it's
Mhm.
just like success leaves clues. So
Mm.
you are so successful because you do all of those things. And this is something that, I'm having a few of these conversations this week, like I was
Mhm.
telling you for this spotlight series. And I see these similarities and patterns that, like, I want to use my marketing and I want to make content, but I
Yeah.
want to even upgrade our offer a little bit, like
Yeah.
our messaging. And it's just like, you go after it. Like, you go after what you want. You don't play games. You're like,
Mhm.
I'm here, and you're ready
Mhm.
to go. So, what has changed for you in your business? I'd love to hear more about your results since joining CCA.
Yeah, well, the heavy hitter, we'll just say right off the bat, was I have doubled my income from when I started to now, and that's only been almost 16 weeks now. That's really quickly. And that all happened, I think it snowballed honestly from number 1 because I of course raised my current rates with people, but then I also really refined my offer and what that looked like. And I remember like showing Andrea, okay, this is kind of the rates I'm thinking of in the tiers, da da da. And I kind of felt like I was gonna vomit. I'm like, there's absolutely no ways people are gonna pay for that. Absolutely no way. I get an inquiry, and it's my first inquiry since deciding I'm gonna change my prices, and she's a perfect client for me. And so my first when I got the inquiry, I have, of course, what people's budgets are.
Mhm.
And it was not anywhere that close to what I was going to charge. And my immediate response was, I should just lower it so I know she'll sign on with me because I want her. Because it wasn't even that I wanted a client. I really liked what her business
Mhm.
was, but I didn't. And I may have even put in Slack, like, I'm scared. I don't know what I should do.
You, like, might throw up before the call.
Yes, yeah. But I did it. I said it with my whole chest, what the price was, And I even gave her the different tier options, like a lower one and a higher one. And the call went great, but of course, she needed to think about it. Her
Mhm.
husband's a CPA. So, of
Mhm.
course, Anyway, that next morning, I wake up to an email and she chose the higher package and paid the invoice within less than 24 hours, had all of her onboarding film filled out very quickly. And I think that for me was the changing point of, oh, this is possible. Like this does happen. This is not crazy to think. And so then it kind of just snowballed after that. And every single inquiry and sales call that I got on after that, of course, I just felt more and more and more confident because I knew it's not like she's a black sheep. But like if one person didn't gawk at the price and one person wasn't like, oh, absolutely not, I'm not signing on. It's not just one person. So I knew that I could keep doing it. And so I did. And it just again has snowballed. But the big thing here is that when I also came to you, I was tapped out. I was like, I'm making good money, but my problem is that I genuinely don't feel like I have any more capacity because I already have like 15 clients, whatever it may be, and I'm working so much. So how the heck am I supposed to make any more money or be happy when I don't have a lot of time, like all these things. And so that was also the big shift is being able to charge appropriately for the amount of work I'm doing so that I'm not full of, you know, 75 really low budget clients that I'm like super over delivering. That's a, burnout real quick. You can't scale that either. And so this was also the snowball effect of that is these packages that I'm now offering people really reflect not only the value, but also the time that I'm putting into it. So I'm able
Mm.
to scale smart too, because I'm not scaling to the point where I can't, you know, sit down for supper with my family or tuck my son into bed. You know what I mean? So that was also really interesting for me to be able to see too, because I had resisted this for so long. And I think I kind of just needed somebody like Andrea to be like, she didn't say you're stupid, but it was really like, Emily, what are you doing? And so that was really such a good push for me to, yeah, finally just do the thing that I was so resistant on. And then it's, of course, fun to see what happens when you actually do something outside of your comfort zone, too. So,
Emily, you are a force, like just amazing all around in terms of what you bring to the table, what you've gone after, what you've done. And everybody listening, I feel like the people who watch the testimonials, they kind of gravitate towards the ones where like they see themselves in. So I feel
mhm.
like the people listening here are probably service providers or
Yeah.
undercharging or haven't raised their prices in a couple
Mhm.
years. So if you're talking to that woman listening right now, she's a service provider, and you're like, I came out the other side, I
Mhm.
doubled my MRR, I literally changed my entire business in four
Yeah.
months, and she's questioning, is this the right program for me? What would you say to her?
Well, first I want to say do it and do it well. I don't know if I can swear on this, but I actually said this on my onboarding call with Andrea. We got through it and I said this is not for half-assed people. Like you have to go all in if you want to see those types of results. And so I would tell you to do it, but then go all in because you can buy the program and just watch the modules, do the little different things, but if you don't actually go all in, I don't think that you're going to see the results that you really really want and deeply desire. But I also think what's really cool about this program too is that there are a bunch of different type of niches. They're not all service providers, they're not all courses, they're not all one thing. And that's been really fun to see too because you might think you're pigeonholed in this one thing, but then you come into this program and when you see all these other types of, business systems or setups, it's like, "Oh, there are many different ways that you can be successful in business too." And I think that was really eye-opening for me as well. But yeah, I would say yeah, just do it. I think that there wasn't one thing in this program that I feel like is going to be the one thing. It's all the pieces together. Having the good one-on-one support. You have daily group coaching calls. That's insane. That's really helpful. I look forward to those every single day, especially the different ones that I like to go to. And that's what's also if we want to go back to the difference between, or like why the one-on-one thing was so special, I forgot to mention this, is that I ended up not going to a few of the coaching calls for like 2 weeks because I was really sick and I had a concussion. Anyway, I kind of was like, I don't know if they'll notice because again, I know you guys have a lot of people in the program. Andrea slacks me and she's like, "Where you been? I haven't seen you on any calls." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't think you would notice my absence, honestly." So that's also, I think that just is such a testament too to how zoned in they are on every single person who's joining and even on all the calls as well. You're being, like first names, people remember, they remember what your niche is, they remember what you were struggling with last week, they remember the win you shared last week, like just different things like that. And I think that has also been something that I think is probably very different in your program than other programs. So yeah, that would be really, the one thing that I would also say, that if you're really looking for detailed and one-on-one high touch help, this would be the place to be.
Emily, thank you so much for just sharing so open, so heart led, and so in your power, girl. Like, you have just come such a long way. I'm glad we had our audit call
I
together
know.
and we celebrate you behind the scenes. When I was kind of talking with Andrea and putting together this
Yeah.
series, your name kept coming up. You know, it always comes down to when we do something like this, it's like the same names come up over and over and
Yeah.
over again. And that's like usually my sign. All right, we need to have a
Yeah.
chat because this is so helpful for people on the other
Mhm.
side because they can't see inside.
Mm-mm.
You see everybody is selling a program, everybody's
Yeah.
doing coaching, right? All the things. So I just want to say thank you for showing up with so much heart and openness. And yeah, it's so interesting because I feel like we've up leveled our avatar a lot for
Mhm.
CCA. Like, I mean, I started this program in
Yeah.
2023 and I've been coaching since 2021. So I've worked with a lot of different avatars. And this new avatar, let me tell you, these past
Yeah.
few videos I've done, they ain't playing games. They're like,
No.
if you're going to join, you're going to join, you're going to go all in. And I'm like,
Yeah.
kudos, claps, because this is what I'm saying in my freebies,
Yeah.
in my content, in my email. Like, if you're gonna do it right. My mom
Mhm.
always says, what is it? Buy it right or buy it twice? It's kinda like that,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like
Yeah.
there's so many programs, so many things, but it's like the one you're gonna devote and dedicate your time to, and
Mhm.
your story of just, a lot of business owners would get complacent with
Yeah.
where you were when you joined, but you were like, I know I'm capable of more. And
Mhm.
I'm grateful that we could be a
Mhm.
small part in that
Yeah.
journey of bringing you to more. So, if people want to work with you, they need a social media manager. Where can
Yeah.
they find you?
brandikinsocialmedia.com is kind of the main hub, but of course you can find me on any social media platforms, just Brandikin Social Media, but Instagram is the different one. Instagram, my handle is Brandikin Social Fargo.
Thank you, Emily. Appreciate this conversation.
Yeah.